Well, hello and welcome to Kirby Superstar. We are going to be taking on Spring Breeze just in time for spring, you know? Well, I guess I'm a little bit late. Spring has been here for quite some time. Spring Breeze, help! All the food from Dreamland has been stolen. Hurry, Kirby, or everyone will starve. Well, isn't that just great? So yeah, I was actually not going to be doing this. I was actually going to do a just kind of a casual playthrough of Kirby's Dreamland for the Game Boy. Shall we explain the copy ability? No. Okay, you're going to be explaining it to me anyways. I see how it is. So I was actually going to do just kind of a casual playthrough of Kirby's Dreamland for the Game Boy, and I decided that as great of a game as that is, and I figured since I had already done a Let's Play of Kirby's Adventure, I wanted to do Kirby's Dreamland as well. And what better game to do than the classic Kirby game, the very first Kirby game ever released, right? Well, I decided against it because this version just looks so dang pretty, it's so colorful, and as much as I love the original game, it's all in black and white, and it's just kind of a little dull looking. You know, obviously it came out in the early 90s when they didn't care about color in games. It wasn't a thing until the Game Boy Color. You get the idea. This game is just beautiful. I love this, release this mode. This was actually just kind of a playable mode. They remade the original Kirby's Dreamland in Kirby Superstar, and they called it Spring Breeze. So I love this. There are a few differences between obviously this and the original game on the Game Boy, but I just think this version is very, very gorgeous looking. I think the colors, having more of a colorful atmosphere in this game, having the copy ability, for crying out loud. Like, Kirby's Dreamland, the original game, never had the copy ability. That was not introduced until Kirby's Adventure. So having that in this version and kind of seeing like an enhanced, version basically of the original game, the original Dreamland, oh my goodness, like there's something about it. And I'll get, of course, to the negatives, of course, like the lacking of Castle Lololo, like one of the best stages in Kirby Dreamland. We'll get there. We'll get there. I have a little issues with that. Pretty much all of the bosses, except for one, which is unfortunately does not return. All of the bosses do return. We have all the same stages for the most part, except for, of course, Castle Lololo, which is, again, I think one of my favorite stages in the original game. This is a copy ability, so you're probably familiar with this since, it's been pretty much every Kirby platformer since Kirby's Adventure. Once you swallow a certain animal or a certain enemy, you will then gain their ability, and you will be able to use certain attacks. As you can see right here, we have the beam. Beam attack, we've seen this before. Probably my favorite ability in the game. You will get that by swallowing those Waddle Dees, and you will be able to perform this little beam attack. It has pretty good range on it. So I think that's pretty much what makes it my favorite attack, just because you can hit so many things within just kind of long range. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the very first boss here. This, of course, is Wispy Woods. This guy is pretty well known in the Kirby community. He's pretty much always like the very first boss for many of the, I think almost every Kirby, 2D Kirby platformer. He is the very first boss. And he makes a return once again. And with the copy ability, this is pretty dang easy. In the original game, you just had to rely on the apples falling from his roots, and swallowing them and spitting them back out at him is essentially what took him down. With the copy ability, especially the beam ability, we make pretty much no trouble at all with this fight. So pretty easy. Again, this version was made even easier. It is even shorter as well, with the of course, lacking one of the stages just, from the original game. It only had 5 stages to begin with, but we're going to continue things on with stage 2. We're going to jump right into it. Float Islands. Yeah, I don't expect this video to be any longer, really this entire playthrough of this game to not be any longer than like 20 minutes or so. Again, the original game was very short. Like, I could get the original done in probably 20 minutes as well if I was good. At max, maybe a half an hour, but this game is even shorter because they cut out one of the stages. So I have a problem with it. Like, I really do. I know they probably only did so because of their limitations with this being just kind of a playable mode in another game. Having this as its own game would have been a better idea, I think. I think if they had just released like a Super Nintendo or Game Boy, even Game Boy Advance, like we got Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland. Like, it only made sense that we had gotten a proper remake for the original game, so I don't know. Maybe we'll get it someday. In my eyes, we have never gotten a true Kirby's Dream Land remake to this day. So this is probably as close as it gets. And again, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this game instead of the original. So we're doing it. So as you can see here, we have a little bit of an exterior that kind of looks familiar. We have a little bit of a castle exterior there. I don't know if they plug that in at the end of the stage here to kind of give us a I don't know, nostalgic trip for the original game, having, you know, Castle Lololo not in this one. I don't know if that's what they were planning on, but it kind of seems like that. So they kind of, you know, this is Float Islands, which would normally be stage 3 if we were playing the original game, but we're still in stage 2. But they gave us a little bit of a taste of the original stage 2, you know, Castle Lololo here. So am I talking in circles? Am I repeating myself? Because it sounds like I am. But anyways, I'm going to have fun with this game. And as you can see here, we do have a another remade boss fight here. So this is going to be the Lololo and La boss fight from the original. Kabula was removed actually from this game, so we will not be actually rematching, or we will not be having our traditional boss fight here at the end of stage 2 with Kabula, which would be stage 3 in the original. They do bring out, or they do bring back the rest of the bosses, so I am okay with that. So I am okay with that for the most part. I just think that, you know, at least they gave us a Lololo and La. But we went ahead and took out La, so now there's just Lololo. We're gonna go ahead and take him on. And like this, just like the previous boss fight, this one is made even easier because, of course, we have the damn copy ability, so we can just beam these guys to death until they go down. We don't even have to rely on swallowing those blocks that they carry with them. It's kind of interesting. I always wondered where they take those blocks. They just kind of go through those little entrance ways or exit ways, whatever you want to refer to them as. And I always wondered when I first played the original game, like, where do they go with those? Like, they just kind of pop in and out of those little doorways. So I always kind of thought that was interesting. But now we're going to take on stage 3, Bubbly Clouds, which again would have been stage 4 in the original. So again, everything's pretty much the same here, except for, oh my goodness, this place looks amazing in the with the enhanced textures here. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of maybe overpraising this game's you know, remade potential here, but I think this could have happened. This could have really worked for its own game, and I think they could have just kind of kept all the original stages in and it would have been fine. But this game looks damn pretty, doesn't it? We went ahead and picked up the sword ability. Nothing too special here, apart from the fact that we have a sword, and now we look a little bit more like Link from The Legend of Zelda with our green little cute little cap there. If you look at the texture of the bells, the color of them, the way they're just swaying back and forth, this, you know, would not have been possible, obviously, in the original Game Boy version. So it just, again, the little things for me is what I appreciate about this remake. And here we have our phase 1 fight of the Krakow boss fight, again, returning from the original. Another function they added to this game, in addition to having the copy ability, is the fact that you actually get an assistant. You will have a, anytime you have any of the copy abilities, you can hit a certain button, I think it's A, and you will actually pop out a little assistant. When the assistant is brought out, Kirby essentially sacrifices his copy ability by having an AI-controlled ally fight independently for him, essentially. You can then, of course, turn back the ally into the actual copy ability if you still want to use it normally. I think it's a little overkill. I think it's kind of unnecessary. I don't really find myself using it when I play this. So, you know, take it or leave it, you know, however you want. But you do have a little bit of a helpful mechanic there where if you do get stuck in a fight, or maybe you're like one hit away from death and you just want a little bit of help there, you can kind of pop that little guy out and he will assist you. We went ahead and took down Krakow, so now we're moving on to the next stage here. Or I should say the next part of the stage. We're still in stage 3. Because if you remember from the original, we had phase 1 of the Krakow fight, and then we had a little bit more stage before phase 2. Went ahead and picked up the bomb ability, and we now find ourselves in this beautiful area right here. Did not mean to actually bring him out. I just wanted to go ahead and get rid of that ability. So I went ahead and took the cutter ability, an ability I'm a lot more comfortable using. So we'll go ahead and use that. Of course, unless I, you know, lose it within the first 5 seconds of getting it, because I've always been known to do that in Kirby games. So But if you go up here by the moon, there will actually be a secret door, just like there was in the original. And I believe Kirby's Adventure had this as well. So this idea has been reused in a few different games. We'll go ahead and fall all the way down and, admire our scenery there in the backdrop. And look who we have here. We have Bonkers. He actually did not show up in the original Kirby's Dream Land, from what I remember. He is in Kirby's Adventure, though, but they give us the hammer ability in this game as well. And if you remember from Kirby's Adventure, it was quite useful. It actually allowed us to get and access many different secrets in Kirby's Adventure. And really, it's just a badass copy ability because you get a giant hammer that you can take around with you, and you can, of course, wail on some enemies. So not too bad. We'll go ahead and pick that up because why not? It's there. And now we move on to phase 2 of the Kracko fight. And this is the phase where he turns into a cloud-like creature and he's got a bunch of spikes around his body. Of course, just like the original, you have to die right there and then and there, apparently, because that's what's going to happen. But phase 2 is, again, just like it was in the original game. He's going to spit out that enemy. You have to swallow it up, spit it back out at him. And of course, you want to avoid all of his direct attacks there. He's going to attack you only from above. So if you just stay really as far away from him as you possibly can, of course, do not sit directly underneath him. That are, those are really the main two things to stay aware of, and you shouldn't have too much of an issue with him. I would argue that he's harder in a lot of the other games after this one, or at least after Dreamland. Kirby's Adventure, you kind of get a nice little cheat because you can just kind of use the high jump ability. In this game, you just kind of have to just really study his patterns, avoid him, jump over him, get around him. He shouldn't be that big of a deal. I think it's a lot easier, obviously, in this version because you can use copy abilities. Kracko is done. Go ahead and admire our surroundings one last time. Take it all in before we move forward. Gosh, I love this area. This is probably the best looking area in this remake, in my opinion. Everything looks great, obviously, but this one just has a special feel to it. I don't know how to explain it. But now we're going to move on to the last stage, Mount DDD. Of course, this was stage 5 in the original, and now we are in stage 4. Again, a little shorter, a little, less difficult, but we made it, alas. And if you remember in the original version, you came to this point right here, and you had to replay a, short segment of each of the other stages that you had just previously completed. On top of that, you had to actually rematch every boss up until this point that you had already faced. In this version, you see this door right here, you go through it, and you're immediately sent into the final fight. Yeah, you don't have to do any of that crap in this remake. I have to say, that's one improvement I do think is nice because, I'm sorry, I never liked the idea of having to re-fight all of the same bosses you just fought in the original game. I love that I wish we had gotten a little bit more of like an actual stage out of this before entering this fight, but I'll take this, man. Of course, we have the boxing ring from the original, the original arena from the original game. But look out in the audience. Look on the left. You have the Mario Brothers out there. There's Birdo in the background, and then there's also Toad sitting in front of them. And look at that. Just like that, King DD is already done. So this fight has been made pretty much a joke compared to the original. I do think it's a little bit too easy, obviously, but you know what? It's all right because it looks amazing. I love all the new additions that they have here compared to the original, and it's all good, man. It's all freaking good. We're going to go ahead and finish off by lifting King DD's castle all the way into the sky, returning all the stolen food that was taken from Dreamland very cruelly. So that's going to do it, though. That's going to be it for Spring Breeze. Again, I wanted to get this out much sooner. I know really at the very beginning of spring I wanted to do this. It just took me a little bit of time to kind of get this together. This game itself is very short, and it didn't take a lot of time to actually record this. It was just a matter of figuring out what I wanted to do because I was going to do Kirby's Dream Land, the original Game Boy version at first. Actually recorded it all the way through, and then did the extra hard mode, or the extra game as it's called, and recorded that as well and decided against it just because I think this version is so much better looking. And I don't know, man. It's just, I think one of these days we will eventually finally get a proper remake to the original Kirby's Dream Land. So I'm still holding out hope for it. I know there are probably other people are out there as well. So we'll see what happens. But that's going to do it for Spring Breeze. Join me next time when we continue the Kirby Marathon with Kirby's Dream Land 2. So until then, I will see you later. Happy spring, everybody.